And what was that?
That was just me. That was my Drumline.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Because today's episode is Drumline with Nick Cannon.
Hello. Do you want to play a game?
What's your favorite scary movie?
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
I see dead people.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Here's Johnny.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Welcome to Talking Horror with Jamie and Nikisha.
Hi, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Nikisha, and this is Talking Horror with Jamie.
And Nikisha.
Where we share our love for all things scary and talk horror through the lens of human behavior. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
Yes. That's great. Fantastic. And what was that?
That was just me. That was my Drumline.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Because today's episode is Drumline with Nick Cannon.
Which, in one of my favorite movies growing up, because I was not on the drum line, but I was in marching band, so we all watched it
me
together.
too. What did you do in marching band?
Alto saxophone, baby. What'd you play?
Trumpet.
Ooh. Do you
I
still
was
have your trumpet?
very bad.
Do you still have your trumpet?
No, I sold it.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Which
my
I regret
parents...
a little bit, but like, which is surprising because I fucking keep everything else, but like got rid of a trumpet. Like, whatever.
That's very true. You have all your movie tickets, stubs, yet you decided to sell your trumpet.
I was just not good at it, and I switched to chorus, and I really invested my time and energy into chorus, and that paid off in spades.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. I mean, well, chorus, hot take, superior. So, not chorus trying to pull a Timothy Chalamet.
Because you can do it yourself wherever. Masquerade, like right here.
Exactly. We love to sing. We are a pro singing podcast.
We are a pro singing podcast. Diabolic, the musical.
I'd play that part. I mean, I would love to play that part. Being possessed by a witch. Absolutely.
Hell
yeah. Well, Brian has already said it for us today. We're talking about the 2026 Australian supernatural horror movie, Diabolic.
These blackouts are ruining my life.
Hey, Luis, honey, hey.
I can't live like this.
I found some healers from your old church. There is one last thing we can try.
You have called upon us because we are healers. Some people feel euphoria. Some are anxious. Some feel impending doom.
Though it was released in Australia in 2025 and a limited release in the US in 2026. So just to clarify, people are like,
yeah. as a over two things. One, we are definitely counting this in our 2026. So at the end of the year, like if we really like this, like this could totally be in our list there. Second thing, also, I'm going to pre-apologize for all the coughing on this episode. Just because there are there's drips going around. So like if you can't handle like little coughs, I got the black lung pop. This might not be the episode for you.
Yeah, but also, send a little love and sparkle joy to our podcast peeps with a little bit of the drip. The drip is going around.
Drip, drip, drop, little April showers.
Chorus.
There it is. Masquerade.
Yeah. Gorgeous. Okay, well, yes, we are here to talk about Diabolic. Thank you for saying that we are counting this in our 2026, Brian, because I'm trying to do better at keeping track of all of the movies that I've watched. Not only new movies that came out this year, but just movies in general that I have never seen that we cover for the podcast or that I just watch on my own.
Wait, I forget. Do you have a letterbox, Nikisha?
I don't, because I'm lame and I can't think about having some other type of social whatevers, I'm drained.
Yeah, no, I understand. You're gonna come home from Austin with one, but that we'll get there.
Yes, there we go.
But here's the thing: if we're gonna network at South by Southwest, you're gonna want to share your letterbox like that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, that makes
something
sense.
to do on the plane. Set it up.
That's fine. I'll do that instead of like have my existential dread about flying. I'll just set up my letterbox.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Diabolic was directed by Daniel J. Phillips and it stars Elizabeth Cullen, John Kim, and Mia Chalice. So heavy spoilers if you have not seen Diabolic. And Jamie, please hit us with those trigger warnings.
Hey, lots of religious themes. Look out.
Look out.
Just overarching. Yeah.
Orlando.
Yes. That's what I thought about the whole time.
Oh, you did? That's so funny.
Yeah. Of course.
Yep, that's it. That's what it's about. It's just the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
But some witchery afoot, some possession, some rituals, drowning, lots of goo coming out of the mouths.
Oh yeah,
hands grabbing mouths. Gross things coming out of mouths. Lots of mouth stuff. Really,
there was
really
a lot of mouth stuff.
There was a lot of mouth stuff.
Bad support systems.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I thought someone was saying one. Attempted death by suicide. Murder.
I say murder.
Bones. Lots of bones.
Oh, yeah, bones come out of skin.
Them bones.
Bones in the ground. Digging.
Stabbing. Digging. Stabbing.
Oh, animal harm.
Yes. That feels like that's all.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, this has a lot.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and I'm very excited to talk about this with you all. But before we get into it, first off, yes, I just put Letterboxd app on my phone, so I guess I'll make an account. I got bullied.
But everyone, by the time you hear this episode, this is after South by Southwest, so you'll be able to follow Nikisha at this point. We'll put it in a past episode. But yeah, we're recording this one before we head out to South by Southwest, but you'll hear it afterwards. So get excited to see what Nikisha thinks about all the films we'll be seeing in South by Southwest when our eyes fall out of our heads.
Woo!
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's so much happening.
There is so much happening, but Brian still has more words to say, so he's going to give us a couple of words.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Hi, YouTube. Hi, everybody listening with your earballs. Thank you so much for being here. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. If you haven't been here yet, but you're here now, thanks for staying, I guess, this far into the episode, like 7 to 8 minutes. Appreciate it. And we are on Instagram and TikTok as well at Talk Horror Pod. There we do a lot more stuff. This is just each episode is a different movie, but there we're always reviewing new movies, lists, suggestions, new movie news, stuff like that. And then at this point in time, you'll be able to see all of our obnoxious coverage of South by Southwest. I'm going to guess we're going to do, this is my day 1, this is my day 2, reviews of movies, what we ate, how we hang in, people we met, stuff like that. So definitely check out that content. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Fantastical. Well, have you guys watched anything this week?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Oh, yes. So we watched something together and then I watched two things by myself. So the thing we watched together was we rewatched V for Vendetta.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, fascinating. How was it this go around? Man.
Jamie?
So I've seen that movie many times. definitely like it was a favorite of mine when it first came out. I'm really into it, and right now I found it to be like very poignant.
Yes.
It was in like a very intense way, but it's I just think it's such an enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Brian?
Yeah, I feel the same way that Jamie explained it. It was just like, it was very poignant. I also didn't love it as much as a lot of people did. I don't know why, because this time I watched it, like, it fucking was awesome, and I think I just understood it more. And I think that there's something to be said about the fact that, like, when something is just an analogy for something that had an allegory for something that happened in the past, like, sure, oh cool, all right, they're doing, you know, World War II, they're doing this, they're doing that, but like, and I know it was an Alan Moore comic book first, but like now watching it with like kind of living a version of it is like really, like Jamie said, very poignant and disturbing. Definitely felt like more of a horror than it did like, you know, a vigilante action movie, if you will.
Yeah, have you guys seen, there's someone and his Instagram name is anonymous something something, but has the V for Vendetta mask on and is like reporting news things. It's very creepy.
Oh, really?
but
Like
it's
wearing the
on
Guy Fawkes
Instagram.
mask and stuff? That's pretty
Yes. Yes.
cool.
Wow.
No, I haven't, but send it if you see it, if it comes across.
Yeah, if it comes up on my feed again, I'll send it to
Yeah.
you.
And then I watched 2 movies. I watched If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You,
Oh.
which is the Rose Byrne movie about kind of like a mental breakdown of she is a psychotherapist and mother, and she has like a total mental breakdown. That is a horror movie as far as I'm concerned. That shit was anxiety inducing, and I will never watch it again. It is deeply sad and like well made movie, super claustrophobic, but I'm good. I'll never watch that movie again. Good performances, great
Wow.
performances in a good movie. I'm done. That's good. I'm out.
Well, would you put that on par with as far as other movies that you are one and done because of the intensity?
It's probably a lot. Any movie that is kind of like maybe I'm trying to think of an the only one I could think of is Possessor. Which I fucking love. That one I would eventually watch again, but this one I wouldn't. Probably like Uncut Gems, like just in terms of like, just like stop, like the anxiety inducement is like too much. So there was that one.
Okay.
Then I saw The Bride.
The Bride.
I fucking loved it. Like truly loved it. I fully understand why people are not on board with this movie. I loved it. I think that it is electric. I think the performances are fantastic. I think that it is swinging for the fences in terms of what type of story it's telling, and it commits to everything it's doing. Do I think that like it has its ups and downs? Yes. Do I think that it's messy thematically? There's too much going on. It's a hat on a hat and a hat. Yes. But there's just something about the energy and the electricity of the movie, because when it is working, it's like A+ material. When it's not, to me, it was only like C+, B-. Like, so it was like a real like wave, but like I love directors' first shot at something because they've been waiting so long to do something, so they put everything into it, the kitchen sink of ideas, and you're like, oh, I wish this was about one thing. But like, even though it's not necessarily about one thing, the like energy behind it, like I can't wait to see what Maggie Gyllenhaal directs next, because like this was awesome. I fucking loved this movie, and I recognize that I'm probably in the minority of people on that one. I don't want to say more than that because I would like at some point to do an episode on it with all 3 of us. But I fucking loved it. Like truly would have sat through it a second time as soon as it ended.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go see it with some people in a couple of weeks. So I'm excited about it. But also, I was wondering if this was Maggie Gyllenhaal's first directorial debut, because I was trying to see if there was anything else that she had directed. So it's exciting. I'm excited to see this, and I love all the actors in this. So
yeah, I mean the
I'm
acting
sure
is great.
Yeah, I'm sure if just that, it'll be entertaining because of the actors.
It's great.
In it.
Jesse Buckley should win the Oscar every year.
Nice.
Yeah, those are the big ones.
Great. I haven't watched anything because I'm boring, but it's always exciting to hear when you guys watch stuff, especially the first movie you mentioned, Brian, because someone else mentioned that to me. If I had legs, I'd kick you. And I think they were mentioning it to me because it felt more on the horror side of things. So I need to put that on my list to watch that as well. Grand. Well, we're going to talk about Diabolic, and we need a 2-minute plot summary that producer Brian is going to give us. Exciting times.
Okay.
What's the plot?
I'm ready.
Exciting times. All right, producer Brian, you have 2 minutes on the clock to give us the old Diabolic baptism. Are you ready?
Give us the old dazzle, baptidazzle. Okay.
Great.
Yeah. Okay. I know.
Ready?
Yeah.
Set. Go.
Okay, so there's this woman named Elise. She is in a fundamentalist version of the Mormon Church of Latter-day Saints. She is being baptized. Something goes very wrong, and she sees like this witch, and then cut to one of the best title cards of the entire year. Then we go to 10 years later where she's like out of this fundamentalist group, but she's having blackouts. She keeps digging for things. She just keeps like harming things around her. She just doesn't know what's happening. So her therapist, who also works with other people who have left the fundamentalist Mormon church, says that they've tried everything and that he found a sect of people who help, and they are part of the church as well. So she's going to basically have what's it called, therapy? I can't think of the word. Exposure therapy. So she goes with her boyfriend and her best friend. They are met there, and they basically exorcise a demon out of her, a witch. She feels amazing, but there's a lot of tension in the group. She's having these flashbacks finally to when she was in the fundamentalist Mormon of Latter-day Saints. And what we find out eventually is that during the baptisms, there are secret baptisms this fundamentalist group would do. And essentially you can't get into heaven as a Mormon if you're not baptized. So they would take people and basically like pretend that they're other people and baptize them to get those names into heaven. And one of the people they baptized her was a former member who kind of went crazy and was a witch. And it ended up taking over her. They pulled the witch out, but then the witch kind of goes back into her. And that woman Elise ends up taking out all of her frustrations as the witch on her best friend and her boyfriend, who were cheating together on the Mormon people who kind of like did her dirty. And she I forgot this whole, and we also find out that she had a sexual relationship with one of her other Mormon friends, one of her other female Mormon friends, and that's why they took her to get baptized. And she ended up killing her friend for turning her in or not admitting that she loved her too. And that's what she was like digging up those bones. And it ends with her back in the church, like basically killing other people too. The end.
And that's the plot.
Woo! Yes.
That was a little all over the place.
Well, what was interesting in you giving that plot summary was, I guess I didn't realize that there was a lot that went on. But
I think the movie does a way better job of like parsing out that information than I just did in 2 minutes.
It's all good. They had an hour and a half to do it. You had 2 minutes. So
you're true. You're right.
Yes.
Good point.
All right, let's get into it with our first segment, Trick or a Treat, where we let you know right off the top, was this a treat? We loved it. Or we don't know how we feel about it, or we're kind of neutral about it. And Trick, this wasn't for us.
Trick or treat.
So, Jamie, trick or a treat?
I think this was a treat for me.
Amazing. Producer Brian?
This is a treat for me. This is the second time I've watched it.
Oh, great. It was for me, but just because it was neutral. It was a good movie and I enjoyed it, but was it my favorite? No. Great. So let's get into the nitty-gritty details with likes and gripes.
And now our likes and gripes.
I just want to sing Book of Mormon songs.
On that note, you should go first.
I will. Okay. Also, I will say, just for context, that I just finished this movie probably like 15 minutes before we started recording this podcast. So it is fresh in my mind.
We watched it today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Okay. So yes, it's fresh for all of us.
Yeah.
And I will agree with you, Brian. I feel like the movie does a good job of delivering exposition so it doesn't feel like, oh, it's about getting out of a cult, but it's also an exorcism, but it's also about like this witch getting revenge, but it's also about, sexual identity and all this stuff. So I feel like the pacing was done really well.
Sure.
And I will also say that I enjoyed the fact that the quote unquote like exorcism of the witch happened early, and that wasn't just a thing that was saved to the last act. Because then you're figuring out like, okay, well, where do we go from here? Like, what is going to happen? And it ends up just a slow peeling back revealing of all of her memories, which I find that very interesting. It was like, yes, I do want to know all these repressed memories that you're talking about that's causing you to behave in these pretty scary ways. There were some things that were predictable. Like I definitely thought that knew that the boyfriend and best friend were hooking up. That just felt like a thing you would add in the plot for how the movie was going. I just think that there are other, maybe I just wasn't in the mood for it today, but there are other movies that deal with either cults or witches that I just found more engaging than this. But again, I did not have a bad time watching this. And I will say, as much as I don't like true crime, I love a documentary about a cult. And what was one? I think we talked about this a while back, a couple of years ago. What was it? Maybe not Shiny Happy People, but something of the like of those kinds of documentaries that deal with the specifically the Church of Latter-day Saints, because I find their whole religion just fascinating. And so when people do get out, put words together, Nikisha, I'm trying to say, in watching those documentaries, I feel like this movie did a good job of explaining the separation between trying to get out of the cult and the things that it can potentially do to you and the harm that it could potentially cause. And I just thought it seemed like they did their research in that respect. So that was also entertaining to watch. We'll talk about this in the brains, but it just the whole therapist and exposure therapy, like I understand that it can be a very useful tool, but it just felt like in this situation, I'm like, well, why are you leading her back to the wolves? Like it takes so much, to get yourself out of that. And in this instance, like she didn't even get herself out. They like kicked her out of it, But I was just like, I don't know if this is the best thing, but I understand, plot driven things. But it always is just so interesting to me, movies that deal with Hollywood movies that deal with exposure therapy and like, is it beneficial? Is it not beneficial? Like, why this particular thing? And why are you choosing this avenue to go through, for storytelling purposes?
Sure. Like, she really jumped in with all, like, into the deep end with that. Like, I understand why I thought they justified why she would do it really well because like it's just gotten out of hand. I was just in the garden. I was just in the garden, like that whole scene. But like the therapist was like, "Yo, you want to just like go there by yourself? I like you don't need any like supervision. Like your boyfriend and best friend could like supervise. It's fine. Like that just well,
Right.
you know, let's save that for brains.
It's fine.
Well, and, you know, and just to also add to that, I thought it was interesting. Not even the therapist part, but the boyfriend saying, "I'll go with you and I'll take the drugs with you," and then thinking like, okay, you're going back to this harmful cult, and you're both going to be on drugs, and
she should have been like, the only one doing drugs.
Yeah. It's like how does that work? You know, you don't know what these people are going to do.
Yeah, Mormon ayahuasca.
Right, exactly. Which definitely something that I would love to try one of these days. But yes.
And would you do it in like that creepy baptism cabin?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And you know what's so funny?
What do you mean?
Oh, right. My friends will think that I'll go do dumb shit like that, and I'm like, no, I watch the horror movies, y'all. I pay attention. I take notes. Don't put me in a cabin in the woods, you know, or in any kind of creepy situation. Like I will watch it in movies like that in the comfort of my own home, but do not ask me to go wander the woods by myself. Absolutely not.
No.
I'm not doing that. No. Yeah. But one thing that was interesting was a bit of a tone shift towards the end of the movie when she is completely taken over by the witch. And that whole scene where she gets her friend in the car and she jumps on the car and then her face is in the windshield.
Oh, yeah. That got a big laugh from the two of us, for sure.
It felt very Evil Dead.
Yeah.
In
that moment.
So,
yeah.
Elise, the main character in this one, is in. They're doing Evil Dead Burn and Evil Dead Wrath. She's in Evil Dead Wrath.
Oh, interesting.
Amazing.
Yeah.
They were like, your face looked so good in that windshield. You should be in the new Evil Dead movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so I thought that it was some of the tone shifts, and even when I forgot, what was it? Oh, in the not a basement, but whatever thing in the
cellar.
Thank you, a cellar. I know words, I swear. In the cellar, and she's having that hallucination with Clara, or the girl that you know she was hooking up with, and that tone shift in conversation, like very animated, it was just like, oh, this is interesting. It wasn't distracting, but it was just an interesting choice to kind of veer more in a comical sense, and maybe it was just to kind of exaggerate like the hallucination that she was having. But yeah, it was just very interesting, those bits of tone shifts. But
sure.
All in all, you know, I love a witchy moment. I love a little cult moment in a movie, and so
we love cults.
We love cults. So it was fascinating. You could say that choir is a cult, and I would agree with that statement.
I mean, a lot of things are cults.
Yes. Yeah, so I enjoyed it. I enjoyed there was like no happy endings, because sometimes that's what you need, and I felt like for this movie, what also made it interesting was the fact that you don't get the happy ending. Like the witch completely takes over, and she's going to continue her revenge. Yeah, super into that. I think that's it. I'm looking at the rest of my notes. Oh, and then of course, Adam, the boyfriend, definitely goes into the worst boyfriend.
Oh yes,
slot.
I'd like to tell a story about that one.
Yes. Please.
I actually think that the actor in this who's playing Adam is very good, because I think that he doesn't come off as an outright douche bad guy. Like, I think that the actor does a good job with kind of this thinly written boyfriend character, in terms of just like giving him some layers. Even I don't mean that in like, I'm not defending the character and his choices. I'm just saying that I think the actor does a good job, also from a narrative perspective of like subverting the expectation that he is cheating. I think he does a really good job in his conversations with Gwen, where you're just like, oh, these two don't get along. Maybe that's the dynamic they're going along with, even though if you know movies like this, you know that's not going to be the case. But I thought he did a really good job. And my story is that there's a moment in the movie where he like he's like trying to convince her to get back in the car to drive or whatever it, and Jamie goes, you know, I really hate him. Like, I don't like him. I was like, yeah. Because the next scene was literally like when she catches them like talking in the church about like how they're cheating. And I turned, I was like, validated. Yeah, totally.
I love that. No, but that's real.
And he already sucked before that.
He did. He totally sucked. Like, I'm not saying he was good the whole time. I'm just saying that like
no,
he sucked
pretty bad
lot.
the whole time.
He was pretty bad the whole time. But I thought the actor did a good job of like adding that like hint of like I'm the victim to him. You know, I thought that was interesting, a little layered.
Yeah, because when he was like, oh, this is why you don't want to kiss me or anything because
oh my God,
you're
when he was
like in love with this woman. Please.
I think one of my gripes is I think he could have played drunk a little bit more. He came off, I mean, maybe not, because like he might be blaming the drinking because that's probably how he felt anyway, because he's a douche. I don't know.
Yeah. Because it didn't seem, I mean, in, drunk acting in air quotes, you know, it definitely felt like it just came from him because he's a douche and not because of the drinking. But you're right, he could just blame the drinking because he is internally a douche.
Right.
So, but also, yay for women loving women every day, all day. So that, and heartbreaking seeing her being ripped away from her parents when they found out. That was a tough scene, and I think it added a really nice layer to everything that was going on in the movie. But yeah, that's all that I have. Jamie, how about you?
Yes, I enjoyed this movie. I think that there's a lot of like tropes that we've seen in very similar movies. But I think that the atmosphere and like the slow pacing like worked in its favor, just in terms of like you said, we're seeing elements of the witch throughout. And I think there's a lot of scenes where, they're the focal point is changing, and it's like, is there something there? Is there not something there? A lot of things just or like the witch kind of in the background, but like it's really dark. So like lighting playing a role. So like I feel like visually and pacing was unique to a like otherwise like a story that we've kind of seen before. Maybe not exactly in the same exact way, but I think like a lot of themes that we've seen that were presented in a unique way that I found engaging. And yes, I agree. I think that having like a queer narrative was really compelling, especially to like, figuring out what is the reason for her, not being a part of it anymore. And like, obviously it's been a significant amount of time, but just learning more about how she is so disconnected from all of this and like the trauma. And like it's also interesting because you can make certain assumptions from the jump of like, because of the kind of religious themes and like trauma that we're like anticipating based on even just the text we get in the beginning and like the first like visuals of this like really intense baptism thing. You kind of think it might be about the trauma related to that, and then the story kind of unfolds. And I thought the protagonist was a good actress. I didn't really like, I mean, yes, I thought that the boyfriend sucked the whole time, but I also just like, I don't know, it just seemed like so obvious, whether it was like his acting choices or like he just was like a dick. Like he would just like say things. It's like,
Yes.
what is happening right now? Like, what is this
Mhm.
conversation? Is this like a real conversation they would have? And then I was like, is he trying to find reasons to like break up with her? Like, is him is that or, like them accompanying her on this journey? Was that like to justify like a breakup and why they should be together? Like, because they just seemed like such silly characters, not in like a silly like clown way, but just like, I don't know, I just didn't really understand like why they were acting the way they were acting around her.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like a weird choice to have these two people accompanying her on a very vulnerable journey.
Very vulnerable journey. Yes, agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And as a therapist, so yeah, exposure therapy, trauma, blah 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 blah. I mean, I would like memory loss, definitely a common component of experiencing trauma. Doing exposure therapy to try and like remember these like big blank spots in your history, that's not that's not how that works. B, that just doesn't seem like a good idea. And C, that's also not specifically how exposure therapy works. So like in terms of like trauma, just throwing somebody back into like a space that carries trauma is more likely to re-traumatize someone than like benefit them. So like that just seemed like such a wild suggestion of like, wow, it seems like, you know, there's some elements of this that are still not coming through. You should go back there and that might jog your memory, but like, don't worry if you like, you know, become a puddle of your former self. So that was weird. And then actual exposure therapy. So like exposure therapy is used with OCD. But exposure therapy, I think this is part of it where it's like movies and media portray exposure therapy as like, do the big scary thing. Now you're not, like, whoa, that's so extreme. And so then you have people who are like, I'm like, why would I ever want to do exposure therapy? Like, that sounds fucked. And that's because it's usually not like explaining it properly. So like exposure therapy, you're building over time. So think of it as like a ladder that you're like slowly, or not, I guess those are steps. I was using a lot of my hands.
With you.
Like, yeah. Okay. So for the people who aren't watching on YouTube, like it's like a staircase, right? Like you're moving up step by step. You're not just like jumping to the top step, right? Like you have to climb each step individually before you get to the top. So exposure therapy, you're kind of categorizing whatever your fear is, because this is like rooted in like OCD and like certain and like phobias and things. So like things that cause a significant amount of distress and anxiety to a point where like there's a lot of avoidance and it's impacting your ability to function on a regular basis. So you're not just going from avoiding this thing that causes you distress to like immediately do the thing. You want to work your way up to it. So even if he was expressing or he was suggesting exposure therapy for whatever, it wouldn't be straight to like go to the compound that you grew up in. It would be like, you know, maybe we like start talking about it, or maybe we like read a book about it, or maybe we look up pictures on it, or maybe we watch a movie on it. Like doing a little bit more than just going straight to the place. Like that again is not effective, and like you're gonna create like a significantly higher amount of distress by like just jumping right to that. So that's not great. And then also like, you know, having someone like facilitate this, like from, and I haven't done very much ERP, but like from my understanding, and that's exposure and response prevention. So that's the actual like exposure therapy. I was like, oh no, I use an acronym. There's so many of them. So yeah, ERP, exposure and response prevention. So the idea is like you're exposing somebody to a part of the thing that they're that gives them a lot of anxiety, and then you want to not do the thing that's reducing the anxiety right away, because the goal is to learn how to tolerate the distress. And so it's less about like remembering stuff, and it's more about, you know, if you have like, let's say you have like contamination OCD, like you're washing your hands constantly, you're cleaning all your surface constantly, but like to the degree that like it's impacting your relationships, it's impacting your ability to work, it's impacting like, you know, your just like your regular life. So it's, you know, what would happen if you like opened a letter, like you grabbed a oh my God, a letter from your mailbox, and normally you would grab it and then you would like immediately wash your hands for like 5 minutes. What if you grabbed it and you waited like a minute before you went to go wash your hands? So like stuff like that, where it's like you're increasing your tolerance to be able to like sit in that discomfort, to show that you can sit in that discomfort, as opposed to avoid it, which then allows that discomfort to grow. So again, that really doesn't have anything to do with like, yes, these experiences are traumatic, but this is different just in terms of like, she doesn't even know, like she doesn't remember these things. Sure. And like this, like her going to this place and then like having all of this anxiety and distress on it is not helpful.
No, not at all.
Anyway, that was my very long-winded of like, that didn't make sense. And
yeah,
I think again, it's just like another movie that's like, what's a throwaway, like mental health, anything that we can do to explain this and like kickstart this next process. So like,
what's the term that we can just, totally.
What's a thing that like people have heard of that we don't have to go into detail about? Yes, exactly. And it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah, but that's so fascinating. I'm glad that you went into that deep dive, because it makes more sense as to why exposure therapy does not make sense in this movie with what you were saying. Because it is, for those who are not in the field or know much about it, it very much seems like a catch-all term for exposure therapy for things, and you just think like, oh, let me just put myself right back into all the trauma, like that's what that is, as opposed to like you were saying, like the steps. So that's fascinating that this would not be the right thing for this particular situation in this movie. But yeah. Any other thoughts about likes and gripes about the movie?
Shitty boyfriend.
Yes.
I also like the guy and his mom. There was just something like, I don't know. I think there's also the trope of just like these misunderstandings of people who like aren't a part of the like culture and like world, if you will, that like other people are. But I just feel like, again, they just played it up a lot in this like weird way that made them both seem like not real people, but like, I don't know, it just felt very extreme. And I get that part of it was supposed to be like, oh, they're like going back to this like fundamentalist like world, and it's weird and it's off and like whatever, but like, I don't know, that just didn't really do it for me. And I think it just made things more confusing for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yet though, this was a treat for you, Jamie. So these are just things like,
yeah, I mean,
you still had a good time.
Oh, totally. Like I am fine with like pointing out things that I like thought were silly or dumb, but like I like some like religious trauma horror, and like I definitely enjoy I dabble in a possession here or there. So like just in terms of like subgenres, like this is definitely one that I enjoy, even if there are things that I was like, I wasn't like fully offended about the exposure therapy thing. Again, it's like, I think there's a spectrum of, you know, like directors and writers and stuff like using random throwaways to like get the story going, but then I think there's other things where it's like a horrible portrayal of mental illness, and they're using that to justify like a killer or something like that, where I'm like, that's not okay.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, you would point that out anyway, but specifically because we talk about that in our podcast, it's great to just like really dive into why those things don't add up a lot of the time with those tropes. Great. Brian, how about you?
Yeah, this was a treat for me. And again, this was a treat for me not because it was amazing and it wasn't bad. It's just like it was like a hidden gem. Like, and not a lot of people are gonna watch this. It was good. It feels like it feeds from last year, where like it's not like the best thing you ever saw, but like it's solid, like really solid. And there's some, and when it's good, like things click. When it's not good, it's not bad. You know what I mean? Like, so I just like, and that's more than an for me. That's like, this was a treat. I had no expectation. When I first watched this, I had no expectations. And I was like, shit, this was really good. You know, like one of those type of experiences versus like, wow, everyone needs to watch this. This is the best movie of 2026. No, it's not going to be. It isn't right now. But like, this was a good one. Usually these movies suck. You know what I mean? Like these like,
yeah.
And this did not at all. And I think it is doing some really interesting things. So that's why I like it. I agree with both of you. I think all of the acting is pretty good. This title card was fucking awesome. The scream into the cut sound. But I also think that a lot of this movie's sound design is really interesting. There's that moment. The creative team decided to like, the music either swells like this like big orchestration, or it's fucking silent. When when Adam is in the car and at, you know, about midway, it's silent. And then even when the witch walks past the window, it's still silent. There's no like sound indicating that you should be scared. But then there's a bang on the back of the car. So you like subverting your expectations for where the scare is. And I thought that was very, very good. And I liked the stuff that the movie did there. And I thought the score of this movie was beautiful also. So like that sound design as well as the score itself was really good.
Yeah, there was and you bring that up, Brian, there was another scene that was like that too, when she had one of her blackouts in the house, like right before they went off to the Latter-day Saints place. And the music is swelling, and you could just see the back of her, and Adam is like coming up towards her, and the music is swelling. So you think like when he turns her around, something's going to be crazy, and then like nothing happens. And she's just like,
sure,
we gotta go. You know, so it is like cool that in those moments where you think something is going to happen, like nothing really does. But then there was a lot of random loud bangs.
There were
in this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of banging in this movie, you know?
Yikes.
I thought that when the mother so let me go through my likes still. I thought it was just really fun and interesting, a different take on certain things, even if there were a lot of tropes in the movie. I just thought that everyone in this movie was making the same movie. Nobody felt like they were in a different movie. And even when the tone shifts, like the end of the movie where it's a little bit Evil Dead-y, which I liked, everyone was still like in the same movie, and I appreciated that. Here's some of my these aren't gripes per se, but I think these could have made the movie a bit better. One, I thought that in the end, it's when they're telling the story, when the when the woman survives trying to hang herself, and then she's telling her son the story. First of all, why are you waiting? Why did you, like, if you died, no one would have known that story. Like, why did you? Sure. Why did you have to wait now to tell it? Like, rude. The second thing is, when she was explaining the story, obviously it was from her, not from her point of view, but from the point of view of that fundamentalist Mormon church. So they said that she was a very devoted person, but behind that devotion, they said she was like mentally ill, sick, a witch type of thing. I think this movie could have really benefited from the witch character having a bit more backstory of why she was kind of like how she believed in the church so much and then she was betrayed by the church. Because I think that in the end, so all we learn about her is that like she just started like eat girls. Like she like
Yeah.
the like I don't know. Is the analogy supposed to be that she was also a lesbian? Like, I don't. I need some more concrete backstory that would have had us as an audience empathize with the witch when she was a human being, so that when she takes over Elise's body at the end and they're kind of like mowing through everybody together, I wanted to cheer for that a bit more. You know what I mean? Like, I want it to be like, good. Now the witch gets her retribution and Elise gets her vengeance on people. But it just felt like Elise getting the vengeance, and it felt like, well, the way the movie describes it, because it's from the point of view of the Mormon church, is that like she was just a crazy person, and like I didn't like that per se. Also, I think that would have justified the end, because then like the two of them are going to try and take down this fundamentalist sect together by like kill, you know, but at the end it just felt like she was just going to kill the other girls. I think the witch's backstory could have been cleaned up to make the end a bit more satisfying. Two, you have to cast other people as their younger selves. Hiram looked ridiculous as this older. It was like, honestly, it was like fucking Jigsaw with the backwards hat. Like, I just think that even though Hiram is older,
my fellow kids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Even though Hiram's supposed to be older than her and he had a crush on her, and like that's also a little weird because like that's the person that he set his sights on, and he was just a little bit awkward and weird too. I personally believe that if you're going to I think the movie would have benefited from Hiram being a different actor, and you can phone it in by like putting them in the same color or whatever. You put him in the same glasses or something like that. And then if you're going to do that, as wonderful as the actress was as like her 10-year-old younger self, I think you could have cast somebody else and like made it feel like they were younger and that like that was a lifetime ago. And like, and then I think the edit of her digging for her friend's body, for her lover's body, and it cuts between her being her age and younger while talking to the other person. I think that could have been very effective as well. You just have to find a very good younger actress, obviously. So that's something I think could have improved it. And then one of my favorite quotes in the movie is, "Should I keep digging? Did Joseph Smith have 10 wives?"
Oh my God!
Yes,
Was
that was a good line.
Like all that stuff was very, very good and funny. I also, here's the other thing. Going back to the witch's backstory, I think there is some connection there because she snapped and killed her friend, her lover. I wanted to see what did the witch do that connected them. You know what I mean? Like. Like the witch was just eating these girls and now this one killed one. Like I just needed something stronger there. You know what I mean? I could draw my own conclusions and lines, but I think that the movie could have done a better job kind of like pointing us to the direction of like what they actually wanted to say and rolling all of that up into the same themes. Because I feel like if that theme aligned with some of the other themes in the movie, like the witch's backstory, I should say, the movie would have felt a little bit more cohesive. But again, that being said, those aren't complaints because I like what movie we got. I just think that those could have been interesting improvements in general. And I will just say again, that title card was awesome. I really, really enjoyed it. It really got me into the movie. Yeah, that's and that's all I got to say about that.
Nice. All right. Well, shall I move on? All good?
Yes.
Yes. Fantastic. Let's get into brains. Tasty. Yum yum. So, Jamie, my first question to you is about the therapist calling what is happening to Elise blackouts when she has moments where she's kind of outside of her body. So I wanted to ask, is that what you would call it? If not, what would you call it? And what other things, and I know you touched on this a little bit when you're talking about exposure therapy, but what else do you think would be of help to her aside from the only two options the therapist gave her, which was exposure therapy or being institutionalized?
Yeah. Man. Just like, oop.
Seems like a fair ultimatum. No, just kidding.
Golly.
But like, I think that her blackouts, I mean, I guess I would still call them blackouts, but like, I think that her, I think it falls under like a dissociation, like on that spectrum. Like there's like dissociative amnesia where you like have memory gaps, which are typically like coming on by stress. But like it's related to like trauma that you've experienced. So that's probably what I would like refer to it as. But in terms of like treating her, again, I think it totally depends on like how much this is impacting her. And like if she's like at risk of like self-harm, then like honestly, like inpatient treatment kind of seems like a good support for her at the point that she's like starting in the movie, because like she does seem like she needs a higher level of care, which is also I think why it's even more like surprising that the therapist is like, sure, go on, off you go.
Right.
Because that seems like the opposite of like what would be helpful in that moment.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Because what is it? She ended up like harming the neighbor's dog or something.
Yeah, she killed the neighbor's dog.
Yeah. So it's like, we need some extra assistance, not just leave me to my own devices, please. And so then I guess that also just answers the next question of like how you felt about the therapist, because that wasn't the best.
I didn't think that he was like the worst, but I think I just think a lot of it is like a lack of understanding from the writers.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's just say that I don't think the movie is painting the picture that the therapist is bad.
Yeah.
Interestingly, like I think we're supposed to view the therapist as like a good therapist, or just like, not a bad one. My question is like, let's pretend that this form of exposure therapy was like a real thing, like that, and they wanted to do that. Wouldn't like a mental health professional like travel with her? Like, would it, right? Like, there'd be like more of a support system than like her boyfriend who's gonna fucking take the drugs as well, and her best friend like couldn't just be the sober one sitting there, right?
Yeah, that was weird. I did not understand why, because again, like if this was, we're doing exposure therapy like over time. He would be supervising that, not just being like, bye.
Yeah. Weird.
Also, I forgot there was a quote that the therapist says that I wrote down. Your mind is suppressing your memories to protect you. Do you agree with that statement? Is that I know that you mentioned like trauma can add to loss of memories. But I guess, is that the same thing as like your mind actively suppressing some things to kind of protect you?
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's where a lot of the like dissociative like spectrum of things come in, is when we're experiencing something that's like so overwhelmingly traumatic and distressing. Like sometimes we really can't like be in the moment because it's so painful, and our minds will do all kinds of things to like protect ourselves. Like in the most extreme cases, that's like dissociative identity disorder, where like alters are taking the place of like the primary, so that like they can kind of function instead of like the primary, because it's just like so distressing. So like memory loss. Another really interesting one is like dissociative fugue, where you like move to an entirely new place and like have no memory of like your former identity and life.
What?
Huh.
Oh yeah. Wait. There's a. Do you know the movie Nurse Betty with Renee Zellweger?
Yeah.
That's essentially what it's about. She has dissociative fugue. Spoilers for a movie. I think it came out in the early 2000s. But I think that her husband gets murdered, and she goes into like a dissociative state, and then like fully like moves and is either like chasing this actor, or like thinks this actor that she watches on TV is like a real doctor or something. And so she like goes to follow him. But I think the people who I'm not looking at Wikipedia, I'm just pulling this out of my butt. But I think the hitmen are like trying to find her. But yeah, she's just like fully, it's this like totally putting away your former identity and like moving, and like you don't even remember your past, and you just like taken on a new identity. It's very rare.
That's
but
wild. I haven't thought of that movie also in a long time.
Yeah.
It's dissociative.
But yeah, again,
fugue.
like fugue, F-U-G-U-E.
Wild.
But
Wild.
yeah, there's like a spectrum of dissociation. Even just like the idea of zoning out, like that's dissociating, right? Like that's just kind of like not, that's like on the lower end of, or like daydreaming. And then there's like depersonalization, where it's like you feel like you're outside of your body, which is something that a lot of folks who've experienced like assault will express, that's like they felt themselves like be outside of their body, because again, it's like this really traumatic thing that's happening to your physical body. And so like there's like this distance that's now created from it. That's coming from it, where it's like I'm not in my own body right now, like this isn't happening to me right now, kind of thing. There's like derealization, where you feel like reality doesn't feel real. You're like watching reality, like it feels like you're watching reality through like a TV screen. So like there's like a whole spectrum of things that like mess with our like perception and memory, and a lot of which can be connected to trauma.
That's fascinating.
I hope I answered the original question.
No, you did. And you gave me so much more. Now my brain is exploding, but in the best possible way, because it's so fascinating that our brains have such power to control such things. And it's also just so fascinating, the people who have studied this and found these things out to see like what is going on. But how crazy is it to even like the first person who ever discovered like disassociating in general, and like how does that pop up in whatever scans you do for the brain or whatever the case may be? Like, I don't know. It's just all very, very fascinating to me. But yeah, that dissociative fugue, insane. I can't even imagine, but great. That's all that I have for that. Should we Rotten Tomato this?
It's the Rotten Tomatoes game.
Yeah, let's do it.
Rotten Tomato.
Ooh.
All right, what do you think this has on Rotten Tomatoes? Nikisha, let's start with you.
I'm gonna say 60.
All right, Jamie.
Yeah.
64.
64.
Oh,
Work.
Oh, wow.
The audience score is a little bit higher at 76%, but there's no critics like consensus here.
Yeah,
What do you think?
There wasn't
this
even a Wikipedia on this.
No, there
which is
wasn't.
Really wow. Yeah.
What do you think this has on Letterboxd? As a reminder, it's 0 to 5 with decimal points. Jamie, why don't you start?
3.1.
Dang it, that's what I was gonna say.
Oh.
Okay, I'll just go flat 3.
It has a 2.6.
Oof.
Oh.
Which is lower than I thought it would be. But
Yeah.
anyway, here are the most popular review is just like, this is why I didn't like it. So I'm gonna skip that one. So I'll do this. At number 3, this is from our friend Brie Hart's Horror. It is not the third most liked one, but this is I'm just putting it 3. Oh look, another horror movie boyfriend that is a complete piece of shit.
It's baked into the system now.
Okay, at number 3, the actual number 3, just leave instead of going to fucking walks 10 times and needing hours of alone time. They could just go and everyone would be fucking happy.
Yeah.
Fair.
Get out of there.
Sorry, that was the most recent review. Never mind. Here's the actual number 3. Mormon Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Mormon
exactly.
Evil Dead. Yep.
Yes. And then at number 2, Creepy Locals. Leave now multiple times. Main character, I'm just gonna go on another stroll.
See that fresh air.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Diabolic.
Diabolic.
Diabolic. Cool. Should we do the 4 S's?
Yes.
Skull, scare, shakes, and suggestions. The Talking Horrors 4 S's.
4 S's are skulls, scares, shakes, and suggestions. Skulls is how this movie handles mental health and human behavior 1 through 10. Scares is how scary is it. And then shakes is can you shake it off, 1 and done. So Jamie, let's start with you.
Sure. For skulls, like a 6.5. I thought it was fine. For scares, I gave it a 2 just for like the unsettling atmosphere and a couple creepy, blurry witch in the background. And for shakes, I'm giving it a 5.
Cool. Nikisha.
Okay. Skulls, I'm gonna also give this I'm gonna give it a 6. Scares, I'm gonna give it a 2 for those little loud banging noises. And actually I gave this a 6 for shakes.
Nice. I also gave this a 6 for skulls. I gave this a 3 for scares, and I'm giving it a 6.5. Maybe I'll bump it to 7. Just because like this will probably be on my hidden gems of the year list. Just like, you know, it's not your send helps, but it's not like your night swims. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, I forgot Night Swim existed.
Night Swim.
Yes.
Wow.
Nice.
We really be going through it on this podcast.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I dug this. I definitely dug this. Should we do our suggestions?
Yes.
I'll go first. I have 3 suggestions. The first one is I gave it away already. It Feeds. This felt like It Feeds in terms of like solid movie, not like whoa, but not like whoa. You know what I mean? If you want people escaping cults and like not really, The Lodge.
Yeah.
And then I had a third one that I won't say. Maybe someone else will say it.
Interesting.
Nikisha, you want to go next?
Yeah. Anytime I think of like religious trauma movies now, I think of Saint Maud.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
And then of course, you know, if we're going witches, do you have to do VVH? So.
Oh sure.
VVH.
VVH. That's it.
This gave me the first Omen vibes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's good.
My other one was Heretic, just for the Mormon stuff.
Mormon.
Oh God, I forgot about that too. Yeah. Fantastical. Well, that wraps up our episode of Diabolic. You can follow us on the socials, Instagram and TikTok at Talk Horror Pod. And producer Brian, where can they listen to us?
Yeah, you can listen to us wherever you get podcasts. So on YouTube, hi YouTube. That's where you can find us. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Rate and review us there. 5 stars, please.
And thank you.
Yes. Brian, do you have a outro for us?
Should we end this podcast episode? Did Joseph Smith have 10 wives?
Yes. Incredible. All right, thanks guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.